Shalom, 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 Yasha. This your boy, Brother Shamwa Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called, "And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true." And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Right? That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. All right, like I said, today's lesson, 2 Esdras 15:2, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. All right, and just typed in Google in the search, RFID hip, right? And this is just some of the information that I got. It says an RFID, a radio frequency C-hip implant, is a small glass encased microchip inserted under the skin that uses radio waves to communicate with a compatible reader. Most implants are passive, meaning they do not contain a battery and are only activated when scanned at a very close range by an external reader. It says, while best known for their use in identifying pets, human C-hip implants are gaining popularity among a niche community of biohackers for specific corporate purposes. It says how the technology works. It says identification. The chip contains a unique identification number that can be linked to a user's data or an external database. Activation says the RFID reader powers the implant with radio energy, prompting the chip to transmit its unique ID number. It says communication. The reader then translates this information, which can trigger various functions such as unlocking a door, displaying medical records. It says common applications. Access control. Users can open doors, start their car, or log into computers without a key or password. Okay. It says digital wallet. Some implants can hold cryptocurrency keys or function for contactless payments, replacing physical credit cards. All right. I'm going to kind of go back and forth. All right. But let's get this. Go to Revelation 13 and 16. Salakia. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. It says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." Okay, and let's look up the word mark. Right, we know that it's kadagma. All right, but let's just get it.
Strong's G 5480. Charagma.
Right, kadagma. All right, which is a stamp, imprinted mark, a mark branded thing, carved, sculptured, graven work, idolatrous image. All right, and we go to the root word. It's karax.
Strong's G 5482. Charaks. Charaks.
Right? To sharpen to a point, through the idea of scratching a pail or a stake, okay? Because they're going to use a device to what? To dig into your skin to implant this mark, okay? And as you see, it says, and no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, okay? So this technology, right, is talking about, let's get it. It's talking about this, okay? As you see, Salakia, it says digital wallets, right? This thing can hold your digital records, right? So it's not only just about buying and selling, right? It also said it can hold your medical records. All right, it says displaying medical records. All right. It says like cryptocurrency. What are they pushing now? They're pushing the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin. They're pushing all these different, they're going digital. Okay. Right. I think I saw an article where, they're trying to stop sending out paper checks. All right. They want everything to go digital. Okay. All right. Remember earlier or late last month, what were they trying to do? Trying to centralize medical records. All right. And make them electronic where they can be easily accessible. Okay. So it says personal records, implants can store personal data such as business card, links to social media profiles that could be scanned by a smartphone. Emergency medical data. It says in emergency, first responders could scan for critical information such as allergies, medications, medical history. Corporate use. Some companies offer or require implants for employees to streamline security and gain access to secure areas, copiers, or vending machines. All right. Right now you have your, what is that? Your little access card that you might tap to get into, your establishment. All right. But they want to make it where now it's all in the convenience, right? It's all about convenience, and just trying to be less intrusive, less things that you have to carry, right? You think about it, right? When you think about the cell phone, all right, what is the cell phone, right? When you break it down, all right, you have I seen a video where they showed it, right? When you think about your modern day smartphone, right? It's a radio, right? It's a calculator. It's a television, like you can watch TV in it. All right. It's so many different features. Like it's a personal computer. Like there are all these different things into one device, right? Like even right now, right? Screen recording, making videos. All right. You have all these different capabilities. It's dictionaries and you can look up stuff, like on AI, Google, whatever. All right. So, they want to kind of continue on this venture of trying to simplify everything and make everything where, listen, there's so much convenience. You don't have to worry about this. You'll never lose it because it's always going to be right there. All right. But it says the risk. All right. It says the use of implanted technology in humans carries significant ethical, privacy, and health concerns. All right. The health risk. It says infection. Implantation is often performed by non-medical professionals like tattoo artists, increasing the risk of infection and adverse tissue reactions. It says in rare cases, studies in animals have shown tumors associated with micro C-hip implants, though a direct causal link in humans has been challenged. All right. It said the metallic components and some C hips can interfere with magnetic Renaissance imaging, right, or MRI. It says, and may need to be removed. All right. But let's look at these first two, right? Infections and biocompatibility, right? It says in rare cases in animals have shown tumors associated with the micro C hip, right? And it says a risk of infection and adverse tissue reactions. Well, let's go to the scriptures. All right. We're gonna go to Revelation 16, and we'll start at verse 1. And it says, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of the Most High upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark, right, the Kadagma, of the beast upon them which worship the image. All right, so let's look up this sore, all right, because they said one of the things, right, when in the animals they had tumors. All right, Salakia. Let's get I passed it up. I did Salakia. Let's look up this word for sore. All right.
Strong's G 1668. Helkas. Helkas.
Right. Helkas. So it says a wound, especially a wound producing a discharge, pus, a sore, or an ulcer. Okay. And this is, remember, this is written aforetime. All right. The scriptures talked about this. Okay. But it says, and what was one of the side effects was you're going to have, tissue infection. And in animals, they say, right, that they've only seen it, right? There's tumors associated with this. All right. So it says, those who take this, right, they're going to have a wound, especially a wound producing a discharge or pus, right? Or a sore or an ulcer. All right. Talking about what? See answer. All right. You take that, right? It's going to produce see answer in it. Okay. But the scriptures already told you about it. All right. You can't say you didn't know. All right. Let's go back to it. So it says, privacy and security concerns. It says unauthorized tracking because the unique ID and RFID C-HIP can be read by anyone with a compatible scanner. There are concerns about potential surveillance by corporations or governments, right? And, we kind of talked about that. If they're able to track you, right, they don't have to go and, it's like I say, it's not just about buying or selling. It's about having full control, right? Esau, right? Starting with these top banking families, these elites, right? They want full control. They want to have full control over everybody. All right. They have that, that God complex. So they want to be like the Most High. That's what the scriptures say. All right. They sit in the throne, as if they're the Most High, right? Because they want to be like them. All right. So they use their technology to try to be like the Most High. All right. And they want to track everything about you. So just think about this, right? You're driving. All right. You're driving or whatever. You get home, right? Maybe you go to the store, right? This is when you have the C-hip in you. All right. This is at this point. All right. So not only do you have these grievous sores or these, these discharge pus producing sores because you've taken this thing, but now, okay, you go to the store, all right, and you want to purchase something, right, and your thing is declined, and you take a look, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. You find out, that, $200 was taken out of your account. All right. This is the money you thought you was going to go buy some food with. Right. But they found out what? You was speeding. So you was speeding in the, going, 70, in a 35. Right. But nobody saw you. But guess what? They tracked you and they tracked your whole thing. So what did they do? They just took them. There's no reason for the police to be out. Right. We already know. Right? We have that unique tracking ID. We know exactly where you were. We know how fast you were going. We know where you were at. All right. As a matter of fact, we can pull up the cameras and see where you're at. This is you right here. Right? We can. This is the type of technology that they're going to be doing. All right. So guess what? Yep. We took that money. All right. Have a great day. Right? What can you do about it? All right. You want to avoid something? Okay. You got people where you have your license suspended for different things, right? What more? They just shut off all your stuff. Now you can't even access your house. You can't access any of your records, right? They basically just shut you off. All right. This is the type of control, all right, that this devil is looking for. All right. And he's going to use this device, all right, which was spoke about before. All right. So it says data ownership, ethical. So, data breaches, sensitive data linked to the CHIP's ID could be compromised if external database is hacked. Data ownership, ethical question remain about who owns the data retrieved from an implant and how it can be used. All right. Let's see. It says vulnerability, the unique ID can be cloned, potentially allowing authorized access to systems and presenting security risk. Human dignity, says some critics argue that the practice of implanting micro C-hips in humans is dehumanizing. All right. But I just want to kind of just, go over this, right? And the same things that are talked about in the scriptures, right? They have it right here. All right. And we know, this is it's a physical thing. Okay. And this is what it is at the end of the day. All right. This is exactly what it is, right? We can look up the image of it too, since we're here, right? You see it. All right. And it's already, people already have it, right? You look in Sweden, right? Sweden has already have people taking it. They're using it for, their corporate companies and different things. All right. So it's already in use. It just has to be mandated. It has to be mandatory. All right. And that's soon to come. All right. We see that's soon. They're getting everything in place. So they're trying to get all this stuff digitalized. They're trying to push your medical records into a central place where they can, have your medical records. Right. They're pushing for a cashless society. So all these things are all running in play ultimately for what? For this. All right. Because this is going to be what's going on. All right. You have this in your hand and you have the brain one. All right. Same kind of thing. Same concept. All right. But let's go back. Right. The things that they didn't say was if you take it, the scriptures tell you those who take it. Revelation chapter 14 and verse number 9, it says, doom for the worshipers of the beast. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. All right. And it says, and the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Okay. Now just think this, people are going to be taking this for a convenience, right? But ultimately, this thing is going to be tracking their every movement, everything they do, everything you do, everything, You got those watches now that, test your heart rate and these different things. And they're going to be knowing all this stuff, man. All right. They're going to be knowing everything that you're doing. Okay. This is the ultimate intrusive device, right? It's there and you can't get rid of it. All right. It's going to be inside. All right. Because ultimately they want to track any and everything about you. All right. Because they want that full power. All right. But, it's just, you read that, right? And you understand that this was written a long ago. All right. The book of Habakkuk says, though it tarry, wait for it. All right. Because in the end, it will not tarry. All right. But this is 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and verse number 1. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people, right? The words of prophecy, right? To say something before it happens. This has been written a long time ago. Okay. It says, which I will put in thy mouth, saith Yahawah Bahasham, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. All right, talking about these scriptures. Okay, guess what? These scriptures are faithful and true, and this is a book of prophecies. All right, and it tells you things before they're going to happen, well before they're going to happen. All right, this mandatory implementation, right, of that RFID hip is coming. Okay, and they're putting everything in the works. All right, to get it going. They don't care about whatever side effect. They don't care about. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that. Listen, before you take this, guess what? Hey, the Lord is going to pour out His wrath and His anger against you. All right, we just want you to know that before. No, they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to say, hey, well, this is Revelation 13 and 16 and 17. So I just want to let you know before you know. They're not going to tell you that. All right, you have to have that discernment. You have to have that eye salve and understand what's going on. All right, the scriptures say, never trust thy enemy. All right, watch therefore and pray. All right, that you may be accounted worthy. All right, this is that ultimate test that's going to come upon the whole world, right? Like the scriptures say. In fact, let's get that. Let's go to Revelation 3. Revelation chapter 3 and verse number 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, right? This is that hour of temptation, all right, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Okay, it says cause all, both small and great, and rich and poor, free and bond, to receive this mark, to receive the Qadash. All right, so this is going to be a test that's going to be upon all the world. All right, that's going to see what when the line is drawn in the sand, which side are you going to stand on? Right? Are you going to stand on the side of Esau because, you're so used and accustomed to this ways and you think that this is going to help, get everything back to normal, right? Or are you going to say, nope, I'm putting my trust and my faith in Yahawah Bahasham, right? It's going to be a yes or no test, man. You're going to take it or you're not going to take it. Many people are going to take it. Many people are going to be deceived, right? Even though you got people in these camps, oh, well, how can it be when people already know what it is? Yeah, guess what? But people are still, even though they know what it is, they're still going to take it, right? And some of you Israelites out here, right, who sitting up here talking about Revelation 13:16 is sin in all its forms, whatever else is out spiritual, right? They're going to be the same ones in that line, getting that hip, man. All right. Failing this test, man. All right. That's going to come upon all the world to try them. Right. So understand, right. But understand that this was all written, before time. Okay. And it was supposed to be called to be put on paper, which is the Bible. All right, because they are faithful and true. Okay, and it's gonna happen. Right, the Lord has said it. All right, so I just want to do this lesson, like I say, Lord's will. This is edifying. Right, but with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the 144,000 men. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days. Another mighty shalom to the rest of the elect out there. Stay diligent, stay focused, keep praying, and keep the patience and the faith. All right? Let this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding be your stability in these times. All right? When this great test is going to come upon all the earth. All right? This is why when you pray, you say, Salakia. I don't want to butcher it. Matthew 6 and verse number 9. I want to get to the point. Verse number 13, it says, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. All right, don't lead us into temptation, man. That hour of temptation is coming. All right, and you don't want to be tempted. All right, into taking that kadama, because that is set up for destruction for you. All right, so with that, we say a ball, shalom.